Okay, I have another Easter story for us, and this is one of my favorite stories. It's called The Country Bunny and the Little Gold Shoes. And it's a longer story, so I'm going to break it up into two parts. So this is going to be part one of the story. The Country Bunny and the Little Gold Shoes. We hear of the Easter Bunny who comes each Easter day before sunrise to bring eggs for boys and girls, so we think there's only one. But this is not so. There are really 5 Easter Bunnies, and they must be the 5 kindest and swiftest and wisest bunnies in the whole wide world, because between sunset on Easter Eve and dawn on Easter morning, they do more work than most rabbits do in a whole year. When one of the Easter bunnies grows old and can no longer run fast, the old, wise, and kind grandfather bunny who lives in the palace of Easter eggs calls the bunnies together from the whole world to select the very best one to take its place. Often, a mother bunny says to her child, "Now, if you learn to be wise and kind and swift, someday you may grow up to be one of the Easter bunnies." And all of the babies try their very best so they can grow up and go to work for the grandfather bunny at the Palace of Easter Eggs. One day, a little country girl bunny with a brown skin and a little cotton ball of a tail said, "Someday I shall grow up to be the Easter bunny. You wait and see." Then all of the big white bunnies who lived in fine houses and the jackrabbits with long legs who can run so fast laughed at the little cottontail and told her to go back to the country and eat a carrot. But she said, "Wait and see." I like that attitude. The little girl Cottontail grew up to be a young lady Cottontail, and by she had a husband, and then one day, much to her surprise, there were 21 Cottontail babies to take care of. Here we go. Then the big white rabbits and the jacks with the long legs laughed and laughed, and they said, "What'd we tell you? Only a country rabbit would go and have all those babies. Now take care of them and leave Easter eggs to the great big men bunnies like us." And they went away, liking themselves very much. Cottontail stopped thinking about hopping over the world with lovely eggs for little boys and girls, and she took care of her babies. And one day, when her children stopped being babies, they were little girl and boy bunnies, she called them to her and said, "Now we are going to have some fun." Then to 2 of them she gave little brooms and showed them how to sweep out the cottage. And 2 she taught how to make beds. 2 more went with her to the kitchen, and in no time at all had found out how to cook a fine dinner. And with these went 2 little dishwashers, and they made the glasses shine like crystal. 2 had little wash tubs full of soap suds, and they washed all the linen. 2 did the sewing and the mending. 2 had the sweet voices. They were taught to sing, and 2 more to dance, and these amused all the others while they worked, so they could be happy. 2 others were soon digging in the garden. To 2 she gave paints and crayons so they could make pretty pictures for the walls. And when Mother Cottontail had given out all of the tasks, she looked around, and there was only one little boy bunny left, and he was sad and lonely. Then Mother Cottontail said to him, "You are the most polite of all my children, so I shall make you keeper of my chair, and whenever I come to dinner you shall seat me politely at the table." Then one day, when the little rabbits were half grown up, she heard a great talk among the wood rabbits. When she asked what it was about, they said, "Haven't you heard? One of the 5 Easter bunnies has grown too slow, and we are all going to the Palace of Easter Eggs to see old grandfather pick out a new one to take its place." So she called all her little cottontails, And they all set off to the palace to see the fun. But their mother was sad because she thought that now she was nothing but an old mother bunny and could only look on, and that a big handsome white rabbit or a long-legged Jack would be chosen. When they came to the Palace of Easter Eggs, there were bunnies everywhere on the great lawn, and the ones that hoped to be the Easter bunny stood together, and all the others looked at them and clapped their paws. Then the big front door opened, and the old, wise, and kind grandfather came hopping slowly out, and he told the biggest and those with the longest legs to show what they could do. They jumped and ran and showed off their pretty white fur, and they were all very fast and very clever. But still he did not pick one, and he said to them, "You are pretty and you are fast, but you have not shown me that you are either kind or wise." Then his kind old eyes looked everywhere, and at last they rested on little Cottontail Mother, where she stood with her children around her, and he called her to come right up to the palace steps. So she took her 21 children and went up and stood before him. And when he spoke, his voice was so kind that she was not frightened at all. And he said, "What a large family you have, my dear. I suppose they take all of your time." But she said, "When they were babies, that was so. But now they are so well trained that they do most of the work for me." "Ah," he said, smiling, "you must be very wise to train so many children so well. But tell me, do they always look so happy? And do they always hold their ears up so prettily?" "Indeed they do," she answered. "We've never had a tear or a cross word in our little country cottage, and if I do say it myself, they do carry their ears better than most bunnies." Then he said, patting the nearest bunny on the head, "You must be very kind indeed to have such a happy home. It's too bad that you have had no time to run and grow swift, as I might then have made you my fifth Easter bunny." At that, Mother Cottontail started to laugh. Then she whispered to the little bunnies, and every rabbit on the lawn looked to see what would happen, and the old grandfather leaned forward to watch. Suddenly, all of her 21 children raced away, and Cottontail dashed after them. And in no time at all, she had them all back again in front of the palace. Then the old, kind, wise grandfather bunny said, "I see that you are swift also. It's too bad that you cannot go to carry my eggs because you'll have to stay home to take care of your children." Mother Cottontail nodded her head to the little ones, and they all formed a line and bowed low to the grandfather. Then she stepped in front of them and she said, "They will take better care of the house than I." Then she called them up two by two, and as she put her hands on the heads of each pair, she said, "These are my sweepers. They keep the cottage as clean as your hand. These make the beds without a wrinkle. These cook my dinner. These wash the dishes. These tend the garden. These wash and dry all the clothes. These do the mending. These sing and these dance to keep us merry while we work. These are learning to paint pretty pictures for our walls. And this littlest one of all always pulls out my chair for me when I sit to the table. So you see, I can leave them to take care of the house until I come home." Then the old, kind, wise grandfather said, "You have proved yourself to be not only wise and kind and swift, but also very clever. Come to the palace tomorrow afternoon, for that is Easter Eve, and you shall be my fifth Easter bunny." Oh, nice. So that was part one of the Country Bunny and the Little Gold Shoes. So far we know about the Country Bunny. Have we heard anything about the Little Gold Shoes yet? Before you listen to part two, try to think about how might Little Gold Shoes play a part in this story. Make a prediction. All right, see you back for part two.